I would love to go over all of them, and I would love that. So the first one that we speak of, number one, starts at the very beginning of your day, and that's with breakfast. So the term breakfast comes from break fast. So we have an opportunity every morning when we wake up to break our fast, ideally with food would be great. Before your coffee or before only your coffee that you might have. I touched on this yesterday. You can break your fast with a smoothie like you had this morning. That is such a great way to do that. It can boost anabolic hormones by 15%. That one thing you do, it kind of gets everything awake and moving, gets metabolism and digestion going. 30 minutes is sort of the ideal time. If you can break your fast within the first 30 minutes of rising would be perfect world for me. But it can either be that pre-breakfast smoothie, which is great for people who like to, do a yoga class or an exercise class or go for a walk with their dog in the morning and then have breakfast, or you can break your fast with your real deal breakfast within that 30-minute or so window is most optimal. You're sort of setting the stage for the day that way. So breakfast, we're big believers in. We feed you in the morning at Mountain Trek. It helps to also, like I explained, set the stage for the rest of the day, because that's now moving into the second tenet, which is the timings of all of our other meals. We encourage people to eat a majority of their calories, up to 2/3 of their calories in the first 9 hours of the day. And that often is the polar opposite of what most people are doing. Most people are actually eating, we refer to it as the Sumo Diet, and they're eating a really top-heavy dinner. And as you may have noticed, a theme in our conversation is we try to encourage a bit of an earlier dinner if possible, and also really focusing on portion size, especially for that meal. If you eat late and you eat too much late, you may also find, well, your sleep could potentially suffer. But you wake up and you're bloated and you have that food hangover and you're not wanting breakfast. You're not wanting to break your fast with anything but your caffeine. So it also really helps trigger hunger when ideally we're supposed to feel hungry in the day when we're able to burn those calories. You could sort of think of the circadian rhythm, and the sun and the moon. And when we're awake and when we're moving and when we're doing, that's when our body is needing those calories. So we want to be calorie burning, not calorie storing. And that's one of the best ways, is eating throughout the day. So we start our day with breakfast. Then we're actually big believers in tiny little snacks in between to bridge the gap between the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner. The idea is that is going to help support a balanced blood sugar. And when your blood sugar is balanced, your metabolism is so happy. So every 3 to 4 hours would be most ideal to have no longer than that in between when you're eating, up until a certain point. So up until that dinner. And I know when I ask people the common response, what time do you have your dinner? Often people say 8 o'clock or later at night. The world was a bit different then. People were getting home from work later. So I'm hoping that maybe, this time at home allows us to have a bit of an earlier dinner, makes it a bit easier for us. So having dinner as early as we can, even if it's just bumping it back a half an hour, small steps. So you can give yourself a good 3 to 4 hours from dinner to bed to digest your food. So that's number 2, the timings of your meals. Number 1 is breakfast. Number 2 is meal timings. And then number 3 is all about composition. I draw this great fancy diagram on the whiteboard, but I draw out a picture of breakfast and what breakfast looks like. I'm gonna do that actually. I have a marker I can use right now. I've got my son's art paper and I'm just gonna show you. It's so simple. But if you could make your breakfast look like, so it's a plate or a bowl, and if you could just split it up into roughly 3 equal parts. So we're gonna say a third, a third, and a third. This is every day for breakfast. If you can combine these 3 major macronutrient groups, you're going to be setting the stage. So this is breakfast. You're going to be feeling satiated, satisfied. Your blood sugar is going to be balanced. The first third is fruits and or veggies. Can you even see? Can you guys even see that? You can? Okay, okay, great. Okay, great. So fruits and or veggies. So fruits are easy. You know, you can add them on top of things. You can blend them in your smoothie if you're having your smoothie as your breakfast or with your breakfast. Veggies are great. You can eat them with eggs. You can saute spinach, kale. So both of these are excellent. Phytonutrient, antioxidant, fiber, vitamin, mineral. I love the idea of getting food vitamins. You know, if we could just focus on getting our nutrients from food first, that would be, again, to me, perfect world scenario. We absorb the vitamins and minerals from food just that much better than we do from a pill, a manufactured pill that we find at a fancy health food store. So those are phenomenal. The other third of the breakfast is going to be proteins. And there's so many kinds, plant-based, animal-based. We love eggs. We love the whole egg, the entire thing. They're versatile. They're so quick to make. You can hard boil them and stash them in your fridge. Again, I'm always trying to stay one step ahead and always having food reserves and food available, ready and easy, healthy food. The easier you can make it for yourself, you'll just find it's less challenging to stay on track with health if you've got stuff ready and available. So eggs are awesome. Omelets, frittatas, scrambled, poached. Then we've got your animal protein. Awesome. I talked already about the quality of the animal protein, how much I believe in looking for, trying to source out the healthiest you can, whether it's grass-fed, whether it's certified organic, whether you can drop into a farmer's market in your area and talk to the farmer. I think that's excellent. Animal protein can be awesome. Legumes. Kirk's really fun fact about legumes and diets all across the world and how healthy and thriving those people are. So those can make an excellent breakfast too, is adding black beans in with your eggs, for example. Things you may never really think of. We've got nuts and seeds. We love unsalted nuts and seeds. We roast them sometimes to be fancy, but I like them to be as simple as possible, you know, raw, unsalted. We talked about omega-3 fatty acids in chia, in hemp, in flax. Fantastic for brain health, for energy, for metabolism support. You've got all your nuts, your cashews, your almonds, pistachios, walnuts, pecans. There's so many different types. And again, I'm really big on variety. So switching it up, give your body a break. Trying to eat almonds every day. The body loves variety. You're just supporting more of a range of nutrients that way. And then we can probably squeeze dairy in here. I like to talk a little bit about dairy. We like the full fat, the real deal dairy. It doesn't have to be large in volume, but the thing about fats is that fats help, and fats are found in proteins. We can almost put these together in sort of as one. Fats help with the absorption of the vitamins and minerals found in your water-soluble fruits and vegetables. They're so important for the uptake of these healthy fats, or these healthy fats are so important for the uptake of these vitamins and minerals. So we need fat in our diet. It also helps us feel so much more satiated and reduces hunger. So a little bit of dairy, like a full fat, plain Greek style yogurt as an example, could be great. Or maybe some cottage cheese. We use that at Mountain Trek and we add that to fruit. Those are some examples for dairy. If lactose isn't an issue for you, I just like to mention it. The quality of dairy is important to me too. And yogurt, I just, as a rule, always buy plain. And I know that's boring and who wants to eat plain yogurt, but you can add to it. If you want to add a little sweetener, go for a natural source like sugar or maple syrup, as I discussed. So there's your proteins, which have natural occurring fats in there, and that's your other third. And then the last final piece are your complex carbs. So grains, we're specifically talking about grains here as our carb. So you've got oats, You've got quinoa, you've got brown rice, things you may not even think about. You can reheat and eat them as a hot breakfast bowl in the morning. Add your berries, add some seeds, you're good to go. Manna bread, we love manna bread. It's a sprouted whole grain bread found in the freezer at lots of grocery stores all across America, but a whole grain bread. It doesn't have to specifically be manna. It could be a rye bread. It could be a whole wheat bread if gluten isn't an issue for you, but look for whole grain is my recommendation there. Muesli, I think, is a great idea for a breakfast cereal. Most breakfast cereals, pre-made boxed breakfast cereals, unfortunately are one of those in energy bars or some of the highest sugar content packaged foods out there that are packaged all fancy and natural to look like they're more healthful than they are. But muesli tends to not have added sugar, so it can be a great one, again, to add your yogurt to and your blueberries to, just for fast, easy, convenient choices. So that's your breakfast. When you eat these foods in this combination together at the meal, you're also supporting blood sugar management, which therefore supports happy, healthy anabolic metabolism. If you were to eat fruit on its own, all by itself, your blood sugar would actually still spike, just as if you ate a chocolate bar. Of course, it's going to be a healthier option, but it's still sugar. So the body appreciates to have these foods that have natural occurring sugars, like even your grains and your fruits, with proteins and fats. They digest a lot slower. So when you eat them together, it slows down the digestive process, keeping your blood sugar more stable and steady. So that's sort of the magic in breakfast. Anyone have any questions about the breakfast diagram? No? Okay, awesome. And I'll just show you lunch and dinner too. Same thing. I'm going to draw your bowl or your plate. This time, well, I'm only going to carve out a quarter portion for your protein. So your 5 ounces for women, approximately 6 for men. So not a lot. You know, we are kind of accustomed to eating more than we really need. That's why we love slow eating, to help us feel full faster, more satisfied faster. And when you eat real whole foods, they offer your body things that Mother Nature intended. So there's no fillers, there's no artificial coloring or sweeteners, and they're much more satisfying and satiating long term. So your proteins, again, all those animal proteins, from red meat to poultry to wild fish to your legumes to a hard-boiled egg to, yeah, adding chickpeas to a salad, because all this here, all this are your veggies. Lunch and dinner. So however you want to prepare them, sauteed, stir-fried, in soup, roasted, raw, coming into summer, delicious, amazing raw fresh salads. Always making sure you're getting an ample portion of protein on top of there. Question. I mean, we try to, when we're really supporting metabolism in your, induction phase at Mountain Trek, we're really limiting the higher carb foods later in the day. But moving along, if you're feeling happy with where you're at and where your metabolism is, you can certainly add a grain to lunch and dinner. It's just something that we sort of remove when we're really trying to dig deep at getting some results and supporting metabolism and weight loss. But I think, choosing a healthy whole grain, if that's something that feels right to you, like a quinoa or a whole grain brown rice, no problem at all. Yeah. Again, you probably want to look at the portion. And I would say roughly, another quarter portion. We do say that a couple times a week, up to 4 times a week, that we actually encourage people to include a carb. This way, you're allowing for it. You're making space for it in your life and in your diet, so you're not feeling as deprived. You may notice that when you're dieting, or when you're getting really rigid with food consumption, that you often it's out there in all the diet paradigms, no carb, no carb. So by including consciously a carbohydrate a couple times a week, so maybe 2 lunches, 2 dinners, 3 dinners, however you want to work that out, you're making space for it, you're allowing for it, you're consciously choosing it. And that can really help with the mental aspect too, I feel like. You're enjoying it. It doesn't even have to be a complex carb. Simple carbs are okay too. I actually really believe that that could be beneficial in creating long-term success with healthy nutrition, is treating yourself to a white potato, treating yourself to your favorite pasta. It's not necessarily the green light to go and, have 2 bowls of fettuccine Alfredo. That could happen too because you're human. But the idea is it's still just a quarter portion, right? Matched with your protein and the half plate or bowl of vegetables. So all this fiber, these amino acids and fats help stabilize the impact of the sugar and the carbohydrates. You can technically still stay in an anabolic body and enjoy your baguette, enjoy some dessert, whatever your thing is. I think it's so important to honor and treat yourself. And it's all about moderation. It's all about balance. That's such a good question. And then for the other thing is just your snacks. So every day you'll notice at Mountain Truck, we've got your snack time. And every day it's the same. When people are visiting the lodge, this is how we set it up. In the morning, we go fruit for half a portion with protein. So fruit and nuts and seeds are the perfect example of that. And in the afternoon, we go veggie, because again, we're just trying to be really mindful of even natural sugars. So we're going veggie, lower carb, but always again with the protein. So veggies with hummus, veggies with hard-boiled egg. And those are your little snacks to bridge that gap to support blood sugar management.